Epic and Fortnite have gotten in a little bit of hot water using AI as of recently, and that is using James Earl Jones, the voice of Darth Vader, and having him AI generated to answer different questions and do different things for players. But today we're not talking about that. We're talking about bots in lobbies. So let's talk about this. Fortnite leakers say some matches can be over 90% bots now. AI controlled bots are now persuasive in Fortnite OG's mode. Sorry, I haven't finished my coffee yet. Fortnite players know that lobbies aren't entirely human. Some enemies have such stilted movements or perish in such deeply silly ways that only logical conclusion is that they're fighting bots. 100%. I know quite a few times when you're playing unranked, you'll run into this quite a bit where, you'll drop in and next thing you know, they aren't even attempting to get weapons. Instead, they're chopping at walls or running into walls or just standing there. The extent of Fortnite's bots usage is difficult to discern in the middle of a match, however, which is where data miners come in. Jax, a Fortnite leaker with an accurate track record, periodically tests the number of bots generated by match. And as of late May, anyone playing the OG version of Fortnite might find themselves barely surrounded by real players at all, which is kind of crazy to me because I played a lot, and I mean a lot of Fortnite OG at the beginning of the season. And let me tell you, I was coming across some of the sweatiest players in the world. Anyways, according to Jax, the minimum number of human players OG Fortnite needs before starting a match is just 8. So you can have all the way up to 92 different bots, which is insane. So that's not even 90%, that's 92%. That means that there's a chance that you could be in a lobby with just 92 AI fighters for a chance at a victory royale. This doesn't necessarily mean every match will be an army of bots, but it just means that you cannot trust that every single character you kill in Fortnite nostalgic mode has another player on the other side of the interaction. Okay. To determine the number of bots, Jack uses Discord bot known as the Dub, which, among other things, can be commanded to count the number of real players in any given lobby. How do they determine if it's a bot? Bots are largely identifiable by names retained across different matches. I mean, it makes sense to me. The thing of it is like I've come across other streamers where I've killed them and it just says player and then like a bunch of numbers on the backside there. It's worth noting that Epic Games appears to be adjusting bots all the time. Previously, Jax found that the OG matches could be 25% bots one month and 40% bots the next. This brings me to another talking point right here. And the talking point is the fact that now I'm not the one that came up with this. I've watched quite a few videos on it talking about different things with Fortnite. And one of the major things that a lot of people talk about is you've got the player base spread so thin across multiple different play types. It's ridiculous. You're talking about OG Fortnite, you're talking about Reload, you're talking about regular Fortnite, and then those three, then you add the ranked modes for those, and then you add the non-ranked modes and the ranked modes, 0 build. That's 12 right there. And then you're talking Lego Fortnite, you're talking Festival, you're talking Ballistic, you're talking Festival, ranked and unranked for them. Well, I think Ballistic only has ranked. But you're looking at 20 different, play modes. It's ridiculous. And I will say one thing real quick. It is a very well-known fact that when it comes to ranked, they throw bots into the ranked lobbies all the way up to platinum. And then once you get out of platinum, then you start facing like full lobbies of actual players. Now, how true that is, I don't know. But from the data I've seen over the last, year or so, it really points heavy into that fact that once you're the top end of platinum into diamond, then you're going to be facing real people. Epic has also reverted course in the past and decreased the number of bots that a lobby might generate. The bot heavy lobbies are also only present in social play, not ranked modes. So that's not 100% true because we just discussed that. Epic Games did not respond to a request for comment, which they won't. One thing that I have noticed when it comes to Epic and companies owned by Epic, they're very quiet and tight to the chest. They don't really talk about anything. They don't release any information. They don't listen to the fan base. It's just one of those things. With that said, games like Fortnite rely on bots for a variety of reasons, like ensuring short wait times. Not just that. They, it's the short wait times, but it's also allowing players to get further into the game so that they feel like they're getting better. One. Two, it's much easier to get a victory royale because when you're fighting 92 other bots, or even let's say 50 other bots, once you get into, let's say you're playing squads, you get into what? Basically top 10. It's for the most part going to be player versus player, and that's where the sweaty end game really, really comes in. They also keep people hooked. The more bots you put in there, the easier it is for a victory royale. The easier you get that serotonin fix, the easier it is for people to want to spend money to get different skins because they're like, "Ooh, look at me, I'm getting better." Now, I'm not saying everybody's like that, but some people are like that. Fortnite also eases new players into the gameplay by introducing them to bot-heavy lobbies at first, after which games use skill-based matchmaking to determine the prevalence of AI in any given match. That is one thing I will say is the downfall of, I'd say, gaming, online gaming in general, is going to be SBMM, skill-based matchmaking. Because I remember back in the day, I would go up against people that I'm like, God, they just totally shit on me. They're so good. And it made me want to get better. Now, granted, a lot of people out there, not just kids, a lot of people out there don't want to play, grind to get better at a game to the point, the dogs are playing, to get to a point where they can actually, hold their own against people like that. At times, players might initially go on a losing streak to force Fortnite to generate bot lobbies. And that's the other shitty part, is if you go on a losing streak, guess what? You get flagged. It's terrible. Like you go on a winning streak, like ridiculous winning streak, you get flagged. You go on a ridiculous losing streak, you get flagged. There's no winning here. You got to have a balance of winning and losing. In short, Fortnite might thrust a player into a bot lobby for their enjoyment. It's hard to have fun if all you do is lose. But does a victory royale feel as sweet if you know that you didn't make a real person suffer for it? Much to think about. Then that brings me to another talking point, is I have some friends that don't really want to play Fortnite anymore because they're tired of coming against sweats. But that's the problem, is everybody, I hate, Trout really started talking about it, and he got me hating the word sweat because everybody's fighting for that end goal. Everybody wants to win, but everybody can't win. You have to have losers, and on top of that, you have to hate to lose. You have to hate losing in order to become a winner. And it's just one of those things you got to put in a little bit of time. Now, I was reading over here on some of the comments section. This guy, I don't agree with Mr. Whittle here. In my opinion, a regulation that mandates that AI-controlled players are labeled as such would make a lot of sense. It's a matter of transparency for the consumer. Companies shouldn't be allowed to trick or mislead people in this way. I agree to disagree. Because, then you start getting into the talk of overregulation and, false advertisement and yada, yada, yada. There's so many different ways you could take a look at the misrepresentation and tricking people. This guy, I do agree with as well. I kind of touched on some of the stuff here. The fate of all live service games that require an audience to run them. It's much easier to keep people in the environment and happy buying skins if they think they are better than most of their opponents. That way, the sweats can all dominate and everyone else feels like they get pretty far. I mean, SBMM and live service games, two massive downfalls when it comes to gaming, which I haven't even talked about Call of Duty, because at this point, I think Call of Duty multiplayer, campaign, everything should be free at this point, because they run such a live service model when it comes to Warzone and the amount of skins and microtransactions and fill in the blank. It's just getting ridiculous. Whiners must be crying because their skills are less than the bots in the game now. Laugh my fucking ass off. Whiners will still whine and cries and will... Whiner... What the hell? Whiners will whine and criers will cry. It should be criers, not cries will cry. But it's just one of those things. This dude's funny. Icy Wiener. He goes, I wonder how many people thought over the years I assumed I am a bot. There's really not much more to this topic. Let's go full screen. To me, it makes sense to have bot lobbies for new players. Allow them to ease into the game. Allow them to, not discourage them from it. I'm not saying that everybody should be, not everything should be a bot lobby. But new players, okay, I get it. Get them some bot lobbies and just go from there. But at the end of the day, do I agree there should be regulatory processes and AI-controlled bots in a lobby? Absolutely not. Do I think they should be marked? Absolutely not. You can usually look at the gamer tag, like it said in the article, and tell if it's a bot or not. Anyways, I want to hear y'all's thoughts in the comment section down below. Like I said, I don't think there's a problem with it. I think the number of playlists, and I wouldn't mind a slightly longer wait time just to get more actual players into a game. I think it should be less than 20% be bots in a game. Anyways, don't forget to mash that like button, subscribe down and subscribe and comment down below. Y'all take it easy. Have a great and wonderful day, and I'll catch you later. Bye.